14-10. Touchdown, Chargers!
What's up, guys? Welcome into a brand new episode of Chargers Weekly, presented by Splitero. As always, joined by the voice of the Chargers, Matt Money Smith. I'm Chris Hayre, and buddy, a little shell-shocked. Just coming off the field, did not look good. Rashawn Slater goes down on a cart, and, you know, I hate to speculate, but I just know looking at Rashawn and the optics did not look good.
No, it's a bummer, man. I'm sure it's going to come through in the pod. You're talking about what I believe is the best player on the team. I think when you just talk in relation to the position across the league, that Rashawn Slater's in the conversation as the best left tackle in football. You know, is he the best? I'm sure others would say Trent Williams or Tristan, but he's in the conversation. I mean, he's and to be able to put him on an island and not have to worry about sending any help over there. We know how good that left side of the line has been year in and year out with Slater running the ball to the left. And then, you know, to not have, like you said, don't want to speculate, but here's kind of the way I saw it unfold, the way that we're, you know, as we're taping this right after it happened, is it was a 7-on-7 drill, but it was 3 offensive linemen versus 2 defensive linemen. And I believe it was Bozeman, Zion, Slater, if my memory serves correct. And Slater just went down, like just kind of, and I don't know if he wasn't expecting the engagement from the defensive player or if Zion might have leaned into him a little bit. Something happened to his left leg where he just went down immediately. And I think we've been around sports long enough to be able to read people's body language. He was very upset. I think it's just, I'm not going to speculate on what the injury is. As we're taping this, you'll probably know by the time you see it.
Yeah.
But he's very emotional. He threw his helmet. He pounded the back of the cart. I mean, it was you could hear that bang ring throughout training camp. Every player came up, gave him a hug, and then he just immediately sunk his head and threw a towel over his face and had to be helped into the locker room. And we know how much he loves to compete, how many injuries he's played through in his career. He's an absolute, to use the term warrior, he's one of those guys that plays through anything and everything to be out there to protect Justin's blind side. And, man, for it to be a 7-on-7 drill on August 7th.
It's the 7th.
It's a real gut punch.
Complete error out of El Segundo. That entire field and the fans watching, and this was supposed to be a celebratory day.
Yeah.
Keenan Allen back in powder blue, and the crowd was into it. A lot of pops for number 13, and then it was hot out there today too. You see
cooking.
Branson Taylor, the rookie, he went down earlier in practice as well. But when number 70 goes down, it completely changes everything that you want to do offensively. This was probably the best tackle duo in football. When you combine Alt and Slater and just what they were doing and the trajectory that they had. And now there's just a lot of questions as to, A, how do you replace them in the short term? And B, what do you do in the long term in an effort to get ready for Brazil and just the combination of the offensive line? That was the one thing that I think it's just so frustrating right now, Money, because just as a guy, you really feel for Rashawn, man. He's a great dude, highest of character, and just somebody that this team relies on year in and year out. That was the constant. We knew it was going to be Alton Slater. We knew it was going to be Becton at right guard. It sounds like that was something we were going to get into today with Zion and Bozeman. Seems like they're part of the best 5. How does it change the way that we look at the offensive line right now?
Well, to me, that's the big question. That you're going to have to dig into with Joe Ortiz. The Joe Ortiz and Jim Harbaugh are going to have to dig into with Coach Devlin, with Coach Hardwick, and try to figure out, does it make more sense to move Joe to the left side and drop Trey at right tackle, or does it make more sense to keep Alt and Becton together on that right side and drop Trey back at the left tackle position next to Zion? I think that's ultimately, and look, this is a reminder, when we were when they were dipping into free agency and everyone was trying to figure out, can we get more money? How do we get Devontae? That sort of thing. And a lot of people were asking, why don't you just dust Trey and that $9 million, and that can maybe get you to a spot where you can go. And we kept pointing out, like, look, you want depth on the offensive line, man. You do not want to mess around if one of these tackles goes down. And now I mean, think about the position they would be in right now if they had cut Trey Pipkins, and so I think
very thin.
That's why you need that swing tackle to be able to account for an injury like this. So that to me is probably what's going to be the most interesting is, do they want to break up the mountain on the right side of the line to put Joe at left tackle, where obviously he played at Notre Dame and was great against the Raiders in that Week 18 contest, or do you just put Trey back at left tackle and or is Jamari Sawyer in that conversation?
Go back to 2022 when Sawyer filled in very admirably for Slater on that left side. I think it was 2022.
It was, yeah.
When Slater went down, and that's
he was a rookie.
Yeah, he was a rookie, and that's a guy that we've heard Coach Harbaugh and company talk about just coming into camp in really good shape, and maybe another option on the outside. Pipkins, I feel like it would be natural to kick him out to right tackle, bring Alt to left. But again, like you said, it kind of breaks that up. But we saw Alt at the end of last year play left tackle. I believe it was that Raiders game that Rashawn did not play in. So that's natural for him. Like you said, he did it at Notre Dame. There's no silver lining to this. Okay, let me just say that when I say that at least there are 3 weeks for Joe to see what's out there. The problem is we're just kind of workshopping this. There's never tackles.
Nothing.
There's never tackles unless you are giving up an elite player on your football team to get one if there's a surplus. But nobody's giving away tackles in August.
No, and the only reason why Trent Williams got traded is it was a contract impasse. The
that was in
Commanders
Washington.
They didn't want to pay him, and he demanded a trade, and they traded him. And it proved to bite him in the tail because he's still arguably the best left tackle in football and has been for that half decade. And so that was a rare occasion. Now, look, Tunsil just got traded, back to from Houston
to Washington.
So, it can happen. And he was traded from Miami to Houston when he was in the conversation as one of the best left tackles in football. So, can it happen? Yes. When you just paid the guy,
that's the thing.
The contract, it's hard to now take on money, and someone who's proven like that. That's the other issue. Is you're now, it would have to be a short term. It's just, it's not. I wish I had answers. I keep having, unfortunately, to have your eyes on it and to see how upset Trey was, or to how upset Rashawn was. On the back of that cart, it leaves a lasting impression. That's such a bummer.
I was thinking about this driving in today, just how different the offense looks right now compared to in that wild card game in Houston. And the constants again were Rashawn and Joe. I mean, you look at all across the offense, there was really no running game, 2.9 yards a carry. You bring in Najee, you bring in Amarian. There's just so many more weapons on the outside. The one kind of question in that Houston game was the interior offensive line. So now that's still a bit of a question going into this season with center and left guard. It looks like Bradley and Zion right now are, as I mentioned earlier, one of the 5 best according to Coach Harbaugh. Now you have a kind of a cloudy situation at left tackle. Justin has played with offensive lines that, I remember his rookie year.
It's funny, right? Chris, you're reading my mind. I'm
Yeah.
going to it right now.
Yeah.
Because, look, you're talking about a guy that put up nearly 5,000 yards his rookie season, as I'm going to it, with an offensive line that was Sam Tevy, Forrest Lamp, Dan Feeney, Trey Turner, and Brian Bulaga. None of them are in the league anymore. Brian Bulaga was on active retirement at right tackle and stealing. I shouldn't say that. Trey Turner and Dan Feeney, Forrest Lamp. I mean,
forgive us.
Yeah, those guys. Like I said, they're not in the league anymore, and that's playing behind that line. Justin Herbert put up the best rookie season by a quarterback ever. So I think it probably. Greg Roman, this is where he comes into play. This is where Shane Day comes into play, where all of these coaches, and it's one of the best coaching staffs in the NFL, okay, we have to adjust. Now we've got to adjust what we want to do with our offense if Slater's not out there, and now you've got to send protection over there, or if you just want to put Alt on that side and treat him like Slater, and Alt's on an island, we trust that he's going to do what we saw for the majority, if not all of last year. And then you send your help to the other side to Trey, and that's where you'll see Will Dissly and Tucker Fisk and Scott Matlock line up, and that's where your pass pro is going to be on your running back side, and then you adjust. You adjust and you move forward.
This happened 40 minutes ago. Just, if you're watching this on a Friday, we're taping this 40 minutes after this happened. So our rundown completely blown up. By the way, KeAndre Lambert-Smith is going to join us. Wanted to mention that at the top.
We'll have a good time with him.
Yeah, that's going to be good. But again, this was supposed to be a celebration of Keenan Allen coming back to the Chargers and talking to KLS and just about his really strong camp so far and what he did in the Hall of Fame game. And now you're always presented with curveballs in the preseason and training camp. Injuries are inevitable in the NFL, and the fact that it happened in a 7-on-7 drill versus a preseason game, it's a violent game, and it just really sucks to have one of the best players on this football team with so much prime in front of him have this happen to him.
Yeah, and again, just to kind of highlight, you're talking about a 4,336-yard passing season in 15 games. Remember, he didn't come in until week 2. Week 1 in Cincinnati was Tyrod Taylor. Has 31 touchdowns to just 10 interceptions and a QB rating of 98.3. That is his second-best quarterback rating of his career, was that rookie season behind that line, and completed 67% of his pass, his second-highest completion rate.
It was the best rookie quarterback season ever.
Yes. I mean, saved Jaden Daniels last year, who carried his team to the NFC Championship.
His numbers were better than Jaden during the regular season, though.
But, I mean, it was – so what I'm saying is, like, he can do it. Herbert can operate behind an offensive line that is not elite. And look, Joe Alt's elite, so you're still going to have an elite left tackle. And now it's a question as to whether or not, those 5 pieces can coalesce here early on. It's August 7th. The Chiefs game is September 5th. You've got plenty of time to find that right combination to get this thing rolling. And look, if you can run block, you can get that running game going, and now your play action's working. And we know that Greg Roman's got a lot better options at tight end this season than he did last season, and that's always been a big part of what he's done. And I think you might see a lot more. I think if you talk about roster construction, you're probably talking about Tucker Fisk now being a lock to make this team, I would think. And I always kind of thought he was, but he's a great – he and Will Dissly are great. And Matt Locke, that trio together was fantastic last year. And so I think you're going to see him be a big part of this and helping out either at that fullback position or at the tight end position attached to the line to help out one side. And that's just the way they'll have to adjust. Yeah,
that tight end room has never been more important now. You mentioned those names, and getting Dissly back to being he's such a great blocker. He was relied upon. I mean, I go back to that Houston game. Tucker Fisk and Will Dissly were catching balls.
Yeah.
Now you have Conklin, you have Rondé Gatson. We'll see what he looks like in the preseason. So something to look for over the next couple of weeks is A, how are they going to fill it internally, and B, what is Joe Ortiz? What can he do? Kind of surveying the landscape of the other 31 NFL teams and figuring that out and seeing if there's a guy that maybe they can identify as somebody who's started in the past that at least provides depth to maybe some of the guys who are currently on the roster. It's just a lot of questions right now, Money. Anything else before we kind of shift to Keenan?
Yeah, I'm just seeing if anybody is still available, and it does, obviously you've got guards available and Sheriff and Will Hernandez, but as far as the tackle market, I mean, you're talking about Dan Moore getting $82 million. You're talking about Jalen Moore getting, $30 million. Cam Robinson, those guys, they just go off the market. Even guys that have tough seasons, they're like, let's get them in, see if we can coach them up. That's how high demand tackles are. So it's pretty hard to find one out there unless a team, like we said, is just dealing with a potential upcoming contract situation. But I think moving forward, to put the positive spin on it, it's why you keep Trey. Trey's a starter in this league. Trey has played solid tackle. You mentioned Jamari Sawyer, his rookie season playing at a solid. You just need. It's great to have elite at offensive line. You just need solid. You can't have bad. If you can have solid across the line, you can win. If you have bad, that's when you find a soft spot. A defense finds a soft spot. relentlessly attacks, and it's hard to overcome that. And I think if you look at the Chargers roster, they have solid. I think either Sawyer or Pitt can be solid in those positions, along with some of the best, if not the best, blocking tight end room in the league.
Yeah. All right, let's shift our focus.
Let's get positive.
To the wide receivers room. This was supposed to be the start of the podcast. Keenan Allen is back. Got a big pop out there. His first practice at the Bolt, wearing that powder blue, looked very familiar money. And, we didn't talk much about Keenan over the last few weeks because we thought that they were just going to kind of keep this room as is. But that sudden retirement of Mike Williams, I think, kind of opened up a spot. And although there is a degree of repetitiveness between Ladd and Keenan, I mean, I looked – this is one of the things I looked at this morning, just the third down conversion rates during the Justin Herbert era, right? In 2020, they were 10th in third down conversion, 21-3, 22-8, 23-16. But, keep in mind the last 4 or 5 games of that season was a disaster. Justin didn't even play. So the common theme to that was Keenan Allen.
Yeah.
Last year they were 13th in third down conversion. And just the fact that Keenan can get open and Ladd can get open, I do think it creates mismatches on third down. I think the addition of Tyler Conklin in that mix going to give Justin a lot more opportunity to get the ball out of his hands quickly.
Yeah. Look, we talked about this when Mike went down. Are they going to go get Amari Cooper? Are they going to sign Gabe Davis? Might they trade for Scary Terry? And I think we were correct in our assessment that we said, no, I think they're going to give the kids a look and see if these rookies can flash enough.
Which they have been.
But I also think, like today, we saw Trey make a beautiful back of the end zone over-the-shoulder catch on a go ball from Justin. He just talk about concentration. Did it? I think it was Cam Hart who they were hand fighting the whole way down the right sideline and was able to get that last burst of separation. It was a beautiful play. And that's what we saw on Sunday as well. Had a heck of a practice. Monday had some drops. And I think kind of what we've seen from both the rookies is they're rookies.
Yeah.
And there's just not that consistency day after day after day after day where it looks the same, like it looks when Keenan's out there, like it looks when Ladd McConkey's out. Like when you see Ladd at practice every single day, you're like, damn, they got a true number one receiver. And I think it's normal for a rookie, like to place these expectations on rookie receivers. Remember, it used to take 2-3 years for rookie receivers to get settled and to get comfortable. And now that whole thing's just been blown to heck because of some of these rookie campaigns by Jamar Chase and Malik Neighbors and like these guys that are sensational have kind of changed the expectation level for rookie and Ladd for that matter. When you put together a season like that, that's just what you think it's supposed to look like. But really the norm is a little bit more like Marvin Harrison Jr. in Arizona, where everyone was so upset and it's like, guy had 850 yards and 9 touchdowns. That's exactly. A pretty darn good. So I think what I'm getting at is I think they wanted some consistency. They wanted to make sure, you're opening with the Chiefs, then the Raiders, then the Broncos. Let's make sure we have what we think is a guarantee, a high floor. Let's get that high floor, and that's what you're going to get with Keenan and Ladd and Q out there, as opposed to Ladd, Q, and pick your rookie wide receiver, because there's just, it's the unknown. It's Brazil. It's it's national television. It's, the Chiefs. And so I think the Keenan thing makes a lot of sense on that front.
It does. And, his numbers weren't actually bad last year. He was hurt for a little bit of time. And it was kind of a disaster situation offensively when, I think he had 2 or 3 different offensive play callers last year. And, keep in mind, a couple of years ago, he caught 106 balls for over 1,200 yards and 7 touchdowns. So he was putting up wide receiver 1 numbers in 2023 with Justin Herbert as his quarterback. He's not going to be asked to do that. Ladd will be number 1. I really do think Q is going to continue to ascend. I like what I've seen. Trey Harris had a couple really nice balls today.
That's what I mean. That's what it's been for him and KLS. Yeah. Like they've had really, really great days, and then they've had rookie days. So
it's a combination of maybe being a little bit of an insurance policy for Ladd. Ladd hasn't practiced in a couple of weeks too. We should mention.
Nor is Becton.
Becton hasn't practiced either, which is another thing we didn't talk about with regards to the offensive line. But I think it's you could play Ladd and Keenan on the field together on third down, and B, if Ladd were to go down or vice versa, you have that guy who can play that true slot.
Yeah, look, you just look at the splits. You're talking about guys that have been effective in both spots for certain. Ladd was incredibly effective lining up outside, but he was more effective in the slot. Keenan Allen, effective outside, more effective in the slot. So you want to put players in the position to perform at their best. And I think that's where each of them perform at their best. What I'll be interested to see is if Greg Roman gets creative and you start seeing, both of them in the slot, where Keenan takes that tight end spot, from Tyler, and instead of it being Aronde Gadsden or Tyler Conklin out there, it's Keenan and Ladd both in that slot position. And I could see that being the case. And look, just going back to our initial conversation about how do you adjust with the loss of Rashawn Slater, who's better at quick game than Keenan? I mean, who dusts his guys on the line of scrimmage?
It's a perfect segue to what just happened.
Yeah, exactly. It's like he gets open right away. Ladd gets open right away. You can build your offense around that and on Yak and just get that thing moving if you have an effective running game, and that can work as well. But I think, to me, like, one of the more interesting things is also, what's this going to look like on game day? Because I can't imagine they're going to keep 6 receivers active on game day. Like, that's...
Well, I mean, do you count Darius Davis as a 6th receiver?
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, so I mean, we already have... And we've talked about Rager and Rice and some of these other guys that, I mean...
I'm just talking about, like, I think that's a different conversation about how that might work for the room with the addition of Keenan. But for me, it's like, if you have Q, Keenan, Ladd, Darius, right?
Trey and KLS.
And then you're going to have, between Trey and KLS, I think will be that 5th receiver. It's hard to carry 6 receivers on game day when you need depth in the secondary, depth on the defensive line.
Who's the 6th receiver
So that's the question. I think that's now what becomes an intense competition, I think, between these two rookies when it comes to who's going to be active on game day. And which one of the two fits into that room better. We always talk about those, because that's why they call it a basketball team, because usually you have 5 guys that are active on, so build your basketball team. Who's my power forward? Who's my point guard? Who's my who's my volume shooter kind of. So that to me is going to be interesting how this thing shakes out.
I argue that I think the biggest winner in all of this is both Trey Harris and KLS, because the amount of attention that Keenan and Ladd present to the defense, especially KLS with that 4.37 speed. I mean, Justin will find you. If you're one-on-one and you beat your man, Justin will find you. Yeah. Same with Trey Harris. So I think, learning from Keenan in the room, but also just having that extra veteran who knows this. And you bring up a good point about Brazil, man. Like, you want a guy who's been there with those bright lights on him. The one thing I will say is, as familiar as it looks to fans, this is unfamiliar to Keenan. Like, he has never practiced at the Bolt. He has never had this coaching staff as his coaching staff. There's been a lot of turnover even from last year's roster to this year's roster. So a lot of new guys. Still going to take some time, I think, for Keenan to really kind of integrate into this team. Yeah,
well, I think the most important connection's there, though, right? It's Justin Herbert. Yeah. And we know those guys were special together. So I think that at least I know where you want me to be. He knows where you're going to be, and that's why I'm going to throw the ball with anticipation and expect you to be there. And, like, that's the most important part of it. But I do think it probably adds some new wrinkles and a new approach to Greg Roman's playbook when you have those 2 guys that are most effective from the slot, and how you want to build that out, particularly on 3rd down. So it's exciting to see him out there. It's exciting to see the fans, when he was just running routes on air and people cheering. It was a great start to practice today with Keenan out there having a bounce in his step and catching passes from Justin Herbert. So there's some positive.
Yeah. By the way, there's also a game on Sunday that we haven't even discussed. Before we get to KLS, let's just maybe give us a 10,000-foot view of what we're expecting Sunday. I think quarterback competition. The depth chart came out and said Trey Lance or Taylor Heineke. Yeah. It didn't say.
No, that's a competition.
Yeah, it's a competition.
That's a full-fledged. And I think you're probably looking at a 2-quarterback team. I think now. Last year they carried 3. If I had to guess, I would think it's probably 2 moving forward. So that's something to keep an eye on. I think the other position groups, you saw what Nico Reed did out there. You saw what Miles Purchase did out there. I think the secondary is incredibly competitive. Are they going to carry 5 safeties? Tony Jefferson is so important in that room, had an interception in the Hall of Fame game. So I think that's the question of it's Derwin, Alohi, Elijah, and Mickens, who's played really well and looks to be maybe a special teamer, potential core 4 guy. And And then is that fifth guy going to be Tony? So that's keep an eye on. I thought Caleb Murphy played great in that Hall of Fame game, and we know this coaching staff is familiar with him. Practice
Where
squad.
did he go to school again? Was it Ferris? It was like a
Ferris State, I think.
Ferris State, Division II. He had like 25 sacks or something at one senior year.
Yeah, exactly. So, and I think you need that special teamer. You need that Chris Rumpf special teamer, Tuli Tuipulotu special team slot filled for the four core guys, and I think Caleb's shown that he can be that guy. So that's something to keep an eye on.
We're going to see Chris Rumpf.
Yeah,
see
exactly.
Chris Rumpf on Sunday as
and
well
Brandon
as
Staley,
Brandon Staley, Kellen Moore.
Yeah.
Old Chargers coaching staff. The offensive line, it looks like, so Zion had that one snap, but for the most part, it seems like
the botched exchange, and he had a high snap. Look, I think they just want to get this thing moving. And it's like, and I thought he blocked well. I thought he blocked really well in that game. I mean, we talked about it, that Friday after the game. So, but I think they just want to get it settled. And now it's going to have to be settled on a different sort of front with the loss of Slater. So,
yeah.
Yep.
Defensively, Kyle Kennard, it looked like he was off to the side today, as well as Junior Colson.
Yeah.
Colson played well into the second half. Good to have Denzel back. But as far as the linebacker room, we know what Dayon and Denzel provide. I think if Junior can play Sunday, a big spot for him.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he played the second most snaps of any player, and I think that tells you that this coaching staff wants to see it. They're like, you got put behind the 8 ball last year. Let's see it. I thought there was some really good from Junior. Had a great tackle for loss. I think there was some things that he's got to clean up. Kept kind of getting sucked in on some of those pass plays that went to the outside. So I think they'll probably want to see a little more from him as well, because right now I think we've seen your starters are probably Denzel and Dayon, and it's been Troy Dye who's been that third linebacker as it stands right now. So look, this team is deep, which is what makes these preseason games fun, because you've got guys playing that are going to be in the rotation on Sundays. We know how Jesse Minter likes to rotate these guys, and I would suspect you're going to have some legitimate competition out there from guys that you're going to see get a handful of snaps at least every single Sunday.
I got a few shout-outs from Canton. Nick and Darren, saw you guys at the enshrinement. You guys listen to the podcast, and appreciate that. And then Scott Elliott, saw you at the enshrinement, said, say hello to Matt Money Smith.
Oh.
So there you go.
Well, thank you.
So shout out to you guys. Thank you for watching and listening.
Oh, and real quick, before we get to KLS, I do want to mention Molly. You interviewed her on CBS, little girl Molly, that I talked to at a couple different Charger practices, and kept showing me the video of you interviewing her last year.
Oh,
at the Bolt. And so I kept saying, Molly, I promise I will mention you, and I forgot for like 3 weeks, but here you go.
Molly.
There's your shout out, Molly. So there's something worth a smile.
Yeah, it started tough, ended on a high note with Molly.
Go.
All right, without further ado, here's KLS. Well, Money, he's become an instant fan favorite. KeAndre Lambert-Smith joins us on Chargers Weekly. And KeAndre, just describe the last 3 weeks. You're making plays on the field, and the fans are certainly taking notice.
It's crazy. I was just talking to one of my uncles who just came to visit me at practice, and I told him it's been nothing short of amazing, a little overwhelming. But I mean, I'm just taking it all in and not trying to get caught up in it too much, because I mean, just been experiencing a lot of love on social media. DMs, from the family, friends,
KLS.
like everybody. Yeah, KLS.
Right.
I just told somebody else I felt bad I couldn't sign all the autographs, because they told me I had to come up here. But, I'm just walking by, KLS, Dre, big play Dre. I'm just like, yo.
Blame us.
No, for sure.
It's
Hey,
our fault.
I don't got a problem with it. I ain't gonna lie. I love it. But, it's been amazing, man. I'm just trying to, continue to I feel like it's just a start. So continue to, prove myself and earn respect to my team first, coaching staff, and the fans.
You led me right to what my first question is. Selfishly, is the guy that's calling the games. I want to make sure I get you right. So everybody says KLS.
Yeah.
But you have an interesting name, because you could be Key, you can be Dre, you could be Lambo, you could be Smitty. Like,
you got too many of them, man.
Like what
so I get to choose?
Right? Like, what nicknames did you have growing up, and what do you like best? Or is it Lambert Smith, or is it KeAndre?
Yeah.
Like, what do you prefer?
So I'm so happy you asked that question. So people in the locker room, like teammates, friends, they call me Dre.
Okay.
So like when I got here, I got kind of introduced as KLS. So like I had to start telling, like K-Mac, for instance, they see me like KLS. I say, hey Mac, you call me Dre. Like, you feel me? So friends and like guys my age and then people I see, interact with on a day-to-day, my teammates, I'm like, y'all can call me Dre. KLS, I feel like it's more for the announcers and maybe the coaches sometimes. But KLS,
do you like it? Do you not like it?
No, I like it. But it kind of originated my last year at Auburn.
Right.
Hold on, is Money a friend or is Money a play-by-play guy?
No, he's your friend. You're a friend. You're a friend.
You're
a friend.
Right?
But you can basically call me anything, honestly. It go Dre. I did see a poster at practice. Somebody brought it to practice and said Lambo. I'm like, I kind of gave myself that nickname back in the day and it didn't stick.
It did, right?
Yeah.
You want it back, you gave it to yourself.
Oh yeah, I ain't gonna lie, I like Lambo. Like
Lambo's great.
it is.
Yeah.
Big
Smitty's
play
great.
Dre, everything. Only thing I say about big play Dre, we kind of got big play Dre, big play Trey. I seen Quay, the receiver that just came, big play Quay. So I'm like, all right, big play kind of. But man, I take everything. You can call me anything.
Okay. Well, you know what? If it's big play Trey and Dre, that could work.
No,
it
could.
If the two of you are working at the same time,
Yes.
that's all right. I'm gonna file that one.
That duo can be
Exactly
that
right.
That can become something. It's
Exactly
something
right.
there.
Which we think it's gonna.
Yeah.
I go back to your draft call when Jim Harbaugh called you and he says, "When do you get a load of our quarterback?" He goes, "Well, when he gets a load of me." Just that confidence right from the beginning. Take me back to draft day because I'm sure you thought you were going to go before the 5th round, but sometimes it's the fit, right?
Yeah.
And the fact that Sanjay got on the call and said, "Hey, unanimous in this building, we all wanted you here."
Yeah. So the thing is, like, that's what a lot of people would imagine. Like, oh, I know you wanted to go before the 5th. When people kept asking me, like, where round you think you're going to go? I literally told them, like, I just hope I go to a good situation. Like, because I always knew, like, it's people who went undrafted. Gates, Hall of Famer.
That's right.
People who went late in the round, and now they're Hall of Famers. So I'm like, it really doesn't matter. Only difference that separates that is the money at the beginning and contracts and stuff like that. But I'm like, man, I just want to go to a situation where I got a chance to prove myself and with an elite gunslinger back there. And the thing is, I had no idea I was coming to L.A., so it kind of was shocking. And then when I took it in, I'm like, all right, that's 10 back there. So that's where that when he say, wait till you get a load out quarterback, I'm just like, man, wait till you get a load of me, like, man, just appreciative. Like I said, caught me off guard, but I'm happy to be in LA.
Yeah. When I'm sure you saw it, but we were talking to Greg Roman in a presser, and he said, he reminds me, and he was going through it, and he mentioned Brandon Lloyd, and we're like, oh, that's an interesting one, and because when we were talking about Brandon Lloyd, it's like, I just always thought of Brandon Lloyd as kind of that physical boundary kind of, playing 50-50 balls. So, like, who do you see, like, or who did you study? Did you study guys coming up? Like, I wanna play like that.
This is another great question at the perfect time. So, it's funny how the world worked. My favorite receiver ever growing up, Antonio Brown.
Okay.
And I wear 84.
Yeah.
Yep.
My favorite recent.
You look like him last Thursday.
For real? Hey, I appreciate that. That's a big time compliment. My favorite receiver, like more current in the game, Keenan Allen.
Oh wow.
So it's funny how I wore 84 and I came to LA and now Keenan back. So I mean, those two guys, man, and Amari Cooper, like anybody who nice route running, and I grew up a Steelers fan, so that's what kind of AB kind of caught my eye, and just the swagger he played with, the confidence he played with. Never seen him get guarded. The Tony toe tap, just his aura on the field was just everything, and I loved it. And then, like I said, Keenan, Amari Cooper, any guys more recent who run routes, I try to just, I feel like that's what separates me. I like to get open. I like to run routes. And
we saw it on that touchdown at the Hall of Fame game.
Yeah.
Get open like that.
That's what I'm saying. That's a lot of love, man.
Yeah.
But just I feel like that's what really can separate you as a receiver. If you're not I feel like I'm pretty fast, but that's something that you don't got to be fast to do.
Pretty fast. You're 4.37 guy.
Yeah, okay.
Faster than pretty fast. I mean, it's wonderful you're being humble, but come on now.
Yeah, no, for sure. Okay, I got the speed too.
Yeah, you got speed.
We're on to you, man.
Yeah.
We're on to you. Hey, what was that first interaction with Keenan like?
What was it? I dapped him up. I said I didn't want to come off too fanboy. I'm like, all right, he's my teammate now.
Yeah.
It's still kind of, I seen him. I'm like, all right, that's Keenan Allen. And he was walking. I just went to him all smooth. I'm like, hey, nice to meet you, Dre. Just dapped him up. He said, Keenan. And I kept it pushing. Now, when I turned around, I was like, yeah. Like,
that's awesome.
But then, even after practice, I just talked to him. I said, man, I want you to watch my routes and just help me, critique me and see what you see. Because like I said, that's what I was watching before getting into the league, throughout college. And it's just funny, seeing him at practice. And as soon as he ran his first route, I said, yeah, that's Keenan. Like, I said, that boy, yeah.
The releases. So, like, how do you get better at that? Like, what is it that you've experienced that someone like Keenan can say? Is it just the nuances? Is it little things that only someone like him can pick up? Like, what do you expect to get out of that?
It's kind of like so I feel like a lot of it is feel, but I also feel like if you just got those certain tools in your bag and you know when to apply them, you can get open. Like, I feel like it started back when I was at Penn State, and I'm behind Jahan Dotson. And he the first one I seen do a split release. He got it from Devontae Adams. I didn't know that. So I'm watching his one-on-ones. As I'm watching mine, I'm watching his reps. And then I'm just going out there and I'm just trying new stuff. And it either stick or it don't. So, like, I also came in with Parker Washington. And he's in Jacksonville right now. You know, he came in. He's from Texas, so he has sweet feet. So he's teaching me different stuff on my feet at the release and in routes. So I'm just taking all of these pointers, and I don't got no pride. So it can be if I'm on Instagram and there's somebody a high schooler, and he do a nice release. Anything I like, I'll screen record it. I'll just look at it, and I'll just try to add it to my game. And then just Keenan, like I'm always, all right, one-on-ones. And now that I'm here and I can access the iPad, I'm going back watching his one-on-ones here. I'm asking my coach to put on AB film. AB wasn't – I mean, he was a good route runner, but as far as crafting, it's like, you know, I'm looking anywhere I can find it. You know, I'm screen recording it, trying to add it to my arsenal. And if it stick, it does.
Describe what it's like in that room. It's a very interesting room. You
Yeah.
add Keenan to the mix. You saw what Ladd did his rookie year last year, and just his route running ability.
Yeah.
You know, Trey drafted high. Quentin in year 3. What's it like, kind of picking the brains of guys that have done it at really all different levels?
Yeah, I feel like I said, I feel like there's no sense of, you know, pride or what's the word? Like, nobody's too good to, you know, talk and figure out what we can get better at. And the funny thing is so it's 4 of us in there that's class of 2020. And everybody's on different years, which is – it's funny how the NFL work. Somebody was like, Lad, get your young bull. I said, I'm older than Lad. And
People don't realize
and
that.
they was like, nah, the NFL don't go off your age. It go off years in the league. And I'm like, okay, I get that. You know, Lad, I get it. All right, he the vet. I'll be that. But the thing is, we all graduated 2020. Q's on year 3, Ladd on year 2. I'm on my first year. And Trey's on his first year.
Yeah.
We all class of 2020. So, I mean, we all around the same age. We click. And then, like you say, you add a vet guy in there like Keenan. I'm pretty sure, you know, we all grew up watching them and all studied this game at some point. And definitely going to take advantage of it. And like you say, Ladd, when I first got here, I'm watching how he stops. I'm watching some of his tape during indie drills. And I like to think I stopped pretty good. And I'm like, all right, if we both stop good, let me just see what separates him from me. Let me try to steal that or get an edge. If I like something he does a little better than me, all right, why he does it better. I'm going to look at it. I'm going to ask him. You know, no pride there. So I feel like, you know, it's an open book. Everybody's an open book. And, you know, we all trying to get better, all trying to be the best. Yeah.
You mentioned class of 2020, Maury High School, right?
Yes, sir.
That's where you were. So you won a state championship.
Yes,
you kinda,
sir.
like that part of the country, a lot of times it's Vatech. It's, you know, I don't know if it's UVA, but like, you know,
Yeah.
Maryland or kind of like in that range. How you end up at Penn State? Like who else offered you? Like, did you think
Yeah.
about staying closer to home, and kind of what led to Penn State?
Yeah, so originally, and I gotta say, it's funny you say Vatech, and I would say like VTech.
VTech, right.
I'll say Vatech.
Yeah.
But,
West Coast in me says Vatech.
yeah. But so originally, I kind of grew up looking at Virginia Tech.
Yeah.
My uncle went there, so I'm like, all right. I went to a few games growing up. I wanted to go to Virginia Tech, and I think what it was is I forgot who recruited me. Oh, Coach Jared Parker. So when he was originally at Penn State, you know, I clicked with him, and before he ended up at Penn State, he was at West Virginia, and I went to a camp there. I'm sorry, he was at I've been out of college a little minute. He was at, I want to say Kentucky or some blue school, Duke. He was at one of those schools, and I went to a camp, and I connected with him, and I just wanted to go to a big time program, and he got the job at Penn State.
Gotcha.
So I already had that relationship with him through the recruiting process, and I ended up going there on a visit. Went to the whiteout game with KJ Hamler, crib the slant versus O State.
That'll do it.
And that's all you needed.
Yeah, I love playing in front of big time crowds, and I ain't gonna lie, that sold me. I mean, they're like, it's no less than 106,000 each game, which is true.
Yeah.
So I'm like, man, I love to be in Beaver, and then I ended up in Beaver with #1, just like KJ. So I mean, it was definitely a great experience. And then finished my career at Auburn.
So you mentioned Justin at the beginning.
Before that, Chris, sorry.
Yeah, please.
You can tell the humility of Dre. That's what we'll call you. That's what
Yes,
we like
sir.
to call. Because you said my uncle. His uncle's camp chancellor. I mean, your uncle went to VTech, but your uncle's camp chancellor.
A fifth-round pick too, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Did James Madison recruit you? I'm sure they tried.
Jam, I'm pretty sure I had an offer.
That's right.
I wouldn't say that. Like I said, I've been out of college. I forgot all my offers, honestly. I had about 35. Yeah.
Yeah.
So a good amount.
Worked out all right.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, for sure.
So the quarterback here, number 10, have you ever played with a quarterback like that? And what is it like catching balls from him, always kind of being ready because he'll find you?
Yeah, it's been – I mean, I like to think – I love it. I love when a QB – like I seen him make a pass where, like, the receiver's right here, the defender's right on him. He put it right over the helmet, like, in stride. Like, the defender didn't have a clue the ball was coming. I love it because I feel like I'm always ready to catch the ball. Like, I want the ball. I want you to throw it to me when the guy's on me because you can be covered and still make a catch. And, that's why I like contested catches. I'm like, man. So I love that he trusts the guys enough to do that, and I feel like I'm building that trust with him. I mean, I feel like if he see me out there, I'm not saying it's 100% like, all right, Dre, KLS he gonna make this, I'm going. But I'm trying to build that. I'm trying to get it to that point. But I feel like, he's starting to trust me a little more. But it's great. I mean, I never seen a quarterback work as hard as him. I mean, even over the break, he was still in here. I was here. He was in here. And it was kind of empty in here. And you could just see him, like, doing abs. And when we doing conditioning, I seen him do the conditioning test and then run more sprints after the conditioning test. When I ran my conditioning test, I was on my knees at the end of it. I'm like, yo, there's no way I can go no more. So just seeing the level that he pushes himself to, and I mean, you want it out your quarterback.
Yeah.
He got that grit to him, that fire, and you want to get open for a guy like that. He want to catch a ball, you don't want to drop it.
So when did you know? Would love the the touchdown in the Hall of Fame game. You're lined up. I think Boodle's playing press man. I think he's playing press.
Yeah.
Right? So when did you know? Did you know you had leverage before the snap? Did you know you had him dusted after your release? Like from that, when that thing lines up.
Yeah.
When do you know?
I knew. When did I know I was getting it?
When did you know that this guy's done? I've got him.
So I mean, I left the huddle. Trey said, "I need you." So in my head already, I'm like, all right, I gotta get open. I'm getting open.
Right.
And made my move, and like I say, a lot of it is feel. Like I just was sliding to the outside, and I just went. Made my little move at the top, and I kind of knew it was over when I caught it, and I had my vision upfield, and I didn't see nobody.
Right.
All I seen was a touchdown. So I'm like, oh, I'm getting the touchdown. And I just felt a little clip at the end, but I'm like, arm right here, hit the little
right.
I flipped on purpose. I could have just, fell any type of way, hit a little front flip. But, yeah, once I caught the ball, I knew it was over. And I purposely did that because I was into the boundary, and I worked them outside. So when I catch it, I'm not too far as close to the linebackers. So when I caught it, I'm like, all right, it's going to be a catching knife. And that's exactly how I played out, caught it, knifed it immediately. Got in that zone.
Turn on the Jets.
Yeah, you
did. Gone.
And that's the thing, Money and I were talking, okay, it's one thing to do it in practice. Can you translate it to the game? You did it immediately. Another opportunity on Sunday against the Saints. Now that you have a preseason game under your belt, like how are you approaching Sunday, knowing that you're still going to get more opportunities?
Kind of like every game. I mean, I do my little journaling. I talk to the man upstairs. And I just focus on, the little details. And I feel like it was a lot of stuff that I could have got that I can get better on from the last game. Like everybody see the touchdown and the little fade catch, but I also felt like it was a few routes where I could have did stuff better here as far as a block there. So just having those, things that I can get better on and making sure I don't mess them up again in the next game. I feel like the getting open part is just a part of, all right, receiver, I got to get open, I got to catch the ball. But just, honing in on the little details of the position, the stuff that the fans and stuff probably don't see.
Sure.
Making sure I'm, clean on that.
When you mention both AB and Keenan, they're guys that can certainly play outside and are effective outside, but they do a lot of their work from the slot. Just kind of as far as your college career, the way you visualize yourself, is it X, is it Z? I'm sure it's all three, but kind of what did you always visualize yourself kind of doing, playing? Where did you see yourself lining up mostly in the NFL?
Yeah, so like you said, it's kind of weird because I kind of played all positions throughout. So in high school, I played the slot primarily. And then I went to Penn State, played outside for 3 years. Then my last year, moved around outside into the slot. And I always thought I was more of a slot. I'm like, all right, I'm quick. I'm a mismatch for any safety, linebacker. And I also got enough size to go beat press on the outside. And then I went to Auburn, and I only played outside. So, I mean, like you say, I can play all three, but if I could, all right, I definitely love doing a lot of work in the slot as well. Just because I feel like the slot allows you to be more savvy in your routes. and that's something that's like my number one trait in my head. So the slots are the guys who do the choice routes and savvy enough to sit in this hole and know how to work behind this backer and read the defense on the run. I like doing stuff like that. Yeah. But I don't mind going on the outside and being that backside, go ball, stop route, because at the end of the day, it's one-on-one as well. So I like it all.
Yep. Dre, last one for me. And, when you get to the NFL, obviously everything's different. The training camp's different. A Coach Harbaugh training camp is probably different. What's maybe the thing that surprised you the most about being a Charger, specifically with Jim Harbaugh? And we always hear competitors welcome, especially training camp. Man, competition is fierce, really at all levels.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. I don't really got nothing that just took me by like total surprise. I mean, I feel like it's definitely easier than college camp. I mean,
in what ways?
Like as far as the time that we here. So I mean, college camp, you waking up at 6 and you going to 8 like every day. Now it's probably not. I don't even remember like when we put on pass specifically, but I think it's once you put on pass from like, all right, you maybe go the first few practices no pass, but once you put on pass, it's pass the rest of camp. We go past a good amount of times here, but it's just as far as the amount of time we in the building, it's not too crazy. And then some guys say this camp is more easier than some other camps that they've been at as far as the time in the building. But as far as out there, like when we on the field, we definitely compete to a high level, and making each other better. But it's nothing that really caught me by surprise. I was ready for this. I'm not gonna lie.
He's been ready.
Yeah. All right, last one. We'll get you out on an easy one, I think. You've had some pretty good uniforms, man, in your career. The iconic Penn States, just the white and navies, no names. As classic as it gets.
No name, all game.
There you go. No name, all game. You got Auburn with that iconic AU on the helmet, the orange and blue, and now you got arguably the best uniforms in the NFL and the powder blues. Like, so A, what's your favorite Charger combo? Have you seen them all? And do you have a favorite one? And B, of those three, go ahead and it's fine. Rank them in order.
Well, I feel like that's easy. I'm putting so the favorite one in LA.
Yeah.
The combo, it's so many different combos. I'm gonna definitely go with the ones we just wore. I feel like those are cold. Like the white pants with the blue pants with the blue socks.
That's never been worn before.
Yeah, they look good.
No, that was pretty dope. And I feel like it was nice and clean. Like I got this picture. It's posted on Instagram. Like it's the first picture when I'm like dapping somebody up after the touchdown, and I just felt like I just looked real nice in it. Like I had the blue gloves, the blue bottoms, the white cleats. Okay. It was clean. But I can't wait to throw on the then we got the all gold, like that kind of color rush. I can't wait to throw on that. But like I said, we got so many navies. Yeah. We got so many different colors.
Hard to beat that Penn State one though, no?
So if I rank the uniforms in order, I'm not gonna lie. LA.
Auburn's underrated, man. That blue top, white pant combo with the orange stripes on the side.
It.
That's a good uni.
But the Penn State is underrated too. But I do like the name on the back. Yeah. So I'm gonna go LA, Auburn, Penn State.
There we go.
But Penn State and Auburn both only had 2. Like we didn't have too many jerseys at either school.
It wasn't like Oregon.
Yeah, right? It was only like at Penn State away. You wore the white on white. Yep. Home, you wore the blue on white.
Right.
At Auburn, the same thing. Yeah. Blue on white, white on white.
Those all whites were pretty sweet at Auburn, too.
Yeah. But
Joaquin right there, he's going to get you fresh all year.
Right here. Sure.
With the man behind the lens right there.
Hey, let's do it.
Look for him. Give him a smile.
Exactly.
I got you.
All right. Hey, Dre.
Yes, sir.
Lambo.
Pleasure, man. Lambo, KLS.
Yes, sir. Lambo. Lambo got a stick. I ain't gonna lie. We can make that a thing.
How about we could do Lambo Lad and Lambo KLS? So I don't know.
There you go.
Big play, Dre.
Lambo Lad and
that's on you. You have to.
The Lambo Lad
kind of. You get a touchdown in the game on Sunday, and I'll call you Lambo. I'll say
I think Lambo. I think it just gotta be Lambo because like I don't got when you go LL like Lambo Lad, that goes all smooth.
Yeah.
Like it's not.
It's just got to be Lambo.
Yeah, it's got to be Lambo.
Yeah.
Or Dre Lambo or like K Lambo.
Hey,
Y'all can get creative with it.
You
Y'all
just
I
keep
have
scoring
the
touchdowns,
preseason.
and we'll figure it out.
Will do.
KeAndre,
great.
we appreciate you,
Needed
man.
this.
Yes, sir. Appreciate y'all.
Good luck on Sunday, and we'll talk to you guys next week. For
sir.
Money, I'm Chris, and Dre. This has been
Yes,
Chargers
sir.
Weekly.
Bolt up.